Gentlemen, we stand at the precipice of a new year. It's 2023. I just got home from work. Tonight's one of the foggiest days I've ever seen. I actually missed my exit that I take every day, so it was pretty bad. So I come home, find all these books in my mailbox. So apparently some of my January books have got here early. Haven't even opened them yet. And tonight I read 3 books. What? T2 read 3 books? Yes. I finished The Andromeda Strain, which I will do a review about in a little while because I got to charge my phone up a bit because I have some notes on it. I was going to actually watch the Andromeda Strain movie from like the 70s. And then there's like 4 TV episodes from like 2008. But it's going to take so much time. I would have to end up putting the video out like next year. So I guess I'll just do it tonight and just tell you about the book. And then I noticed there's also an Animal Farm cartoon from like the 60s or something. And then there's a live action one with Kelsey Grammer playing one of the animals in like 2000-ish or something. So I might watch that. And so then after I read Andromeda Strain, which was amazing, 5 out of 5 stars, can't say enough good things about it, I read a couple of Brandon Sanderson Cosmere novels because they were really short, so I'm going to do both of them in this video. The first one is called Shadows for Silence in the Forests of Hell. Ambitious title. So this one, I think, yes, this is the Threnody one. He's got these different Cosmere planets. Emperor's Soul takes place on a different planet than this, and from Stormlight Archive. Those are 2 different planets, I think. This one is Threnody, which he's talked about making another book that takes place on Threnody soon. But this one is really interesting because Silence is the woman's name. She's what you call a Force Scout. And it's kind of like, both of these books are like in a place that's super dangerous. It reminds me of when you play Valhalla and you're in the swamp area, and it's like very, very dangerous everywhere you go. And there's these things, shades. No, not wraiths. Was it shades? I think they're called shades. Yeah, they're like ghosts or whatever, right? People's ghosts, they have these rules that if you break the rules, it draws the ire and the anger of these shades, and they can wither you, and they make your flesh like rot and turn to like ash. And the only thing that prevents it is like silver. So you can have like silver powder, you can put silver powder in water, you can have weapons made of silver. And the things that you don't do, drawing blood is really bad because they smell the blood and they always attack whoever drew the blood first, not the person that's bleeding, but the person that caused the blood to be drawn. And then they get angered, they get enraged. Their eyes go from like, or first they turn white to black or black to white or something like that. Then their eyes turn green, and then once their eyes turn red, then they're enraged, and then they'll just kill anything in sight. So you have to be real careful not to cut anybody. So they'll use like blunt instruments. It's really cool. Another thing is you don't kindle a fire. What was the third thing? If you kindle a fire, it kind of blinds them, but then it enrages them after they get over the stunning from the thing. So yeah, both of these books also have like a one of those flint steel fire starter things that welders will use. One of those things. And there's like an explosive scene in here with some like a keg of dynamite or something. But mainly this woman is like a bounty hunter. She has like this book of bounties of people that have committed crimes and they're worth so much silver because she has this like way station. It's like an inn in the middle of this very dangerous forest that people come to because it has like a ring of silver around it, and it costs a lot to keep replenishing the silver because every time the shades touch the silver, it ruins it, and she has to like buy new silver to replace it. And it's like her kids are going to be thrown out on the street, and there's this guy that's kind of like he turns in her bounties for her because she's like this white fox character that everybody knows of, but they don't know it's her. So he ends up betraying her and like tricking her, and she has this is this whole big deal with like I don't want to tell you too much, but it's like really good. What was the other third rule? Silence and the shadows. Shadows of silence. I don't know if it matters. Rules of shades. Don't run at night. Yeah, if you move too fast, or yeah, if you do anything that'll like there was another thing too that they mentioned, but it's like don't kindle flame, don't shed the blood of another, don't run at night. These things draw shades. So her grandma trained her in like these methods of like being a Force Scout and surviving in this very hostile environment. And like when she kills people to like do the bounty, she has to like put a sack over their head and beat them with a hammer. And then the sack has tar on the inside. It's lined that it keeps the blood from getting spilt out where they can smell it or something. And then she uses a garrote and she just like strangles people. That's a pretty good method. But she has like a crossbow with silver tipped arrows and stuff. It's pretty dope. For like a really short, I read this in like 2 hours. It's really good. The other book was called Sixth of the Dusk. So this one takes place on a different planet, I think, even from those 3 planets. And there are some aliens that are kind of mentioned that are come from the stars that are kind of like, I don't know what planet they would come from. But anyway, it's based on these islands, and there's a guy, he has these birds that have super abilities that they grant you. So, this is one of Brandon Sanderson's knacks, is like coming up with weird magic systems like this, right? So, I wonder if silver is like one of these, the lost metal from that new lost metal book he just put out. I think that wasn't one of the 10 in Mistborn. I think it's probably aluminum because I think they already mentioned them, like Relicist being in the first Mistborn book. I think it was already a thing. So yeah, there's this guy. He's got these birds. He has 2 birds. One of them gives him the ability, like an aura that prevents these dangerous things from like reading his mind or knowing that he's there. There's like big shadows under the water. So if he's on a boat, he has to avoid these big like sharks or whales. It doesn't really say what they are. It's like some kind of shadow under the water that you don't want to mess with, and it keeps them from sensing you. And if you're on land, there's these night moths, which are like giant birds, probably like the ones you would see in Elden Ring, in that one area. And those are very deadly, and they can like sense your thoughts, so it prevents them from sensing your thoughts. The other bird, all of the birds are supposed to come from these islands too. There's like a mainland where there's no special birds, and then there's these islands. Apparently they all have to come to this one specific island that he's on, the biggest island, and reveal, like a spoiler alert, the center of the island there's these trees, and they're like super deadly. They have this fruit. The fruit draws in beasts that'll ravage you, and the birds eat the worms that come after the fruit or something, and like they have a parasite. So like this woman from the mainland, they've been dealing with these aliens, and they're trying to like take over the island and get all these birds for themselves, and they don't know that there's never been like a new bird power discovered in the last hundreds of years or whatever. And she ends up with this guy, and he's like a trapper. And the trappers are really cool because they all hate each other, but they always carry a journal, and it tells like, when I die, here's where my birds are. Even though you're an enemy, I'd rather my birds be taken care of by somebody than for them to die, because they're loyal to their birds. But they all like set traps for each other. Like they'll stick a mating feather in a trap, so that if you're dumb and you go after the mating feather thing and it's like too easy of a catch, then you would get owned by like vines that come down and like stab you and poison you, or these fucking ants that come out of the ground. It's like everything in this island tries to kill you. So that's why his other bird is really important, because the other bird, he got off the mainland and he raised it on the island, so they didn't know that you could do that. It got a new power, and the new power was it shows you dangers. Like you see your dead body laying around if you would have gotten bit by one of these ants, or if you see like you would have gotten strangled by one of these vines, you'll see your body hanging out of a tree. So like whenever you see your dead body, you know, oh shit, dangers are around. So it like alerts you to dangers, and it's super good at that. So it was kind of like Avatar, the movie, not the Airbender, but the like Pocahontas kind of a story too. Like, you know, these people are coming to your land and trying to take it from you. Felt like one of those kind of stories. But yeah, they had like guns that they just started developing, like cannons, and she had a gun that shot a spear, and it ended up killing one of these night moths. So he was like, "You can kill night moths? Holy shit, I didn't even know you could do that. We can kill all of them now, and we could get this land to be like, you could live here and stuff easily or something." But then like, didn't turn out good in the end. So yeah, that's those two books. Apparently there's another book that came out with Shadows of Silence of the... what was it called? There was another book. State of... Wait. I don't want to read it now. What was it called? State of something. There's a lot of these like Brandon Sanderson books that you never hear about because he's wrote so many. They slip by. Frostbolt. What the fuck is that? Doesn't matter. I'll probably end up reading it too, though. But yeah. Now I've got to do like Perfect State. That's what it's called. What is that about? There's a big giant robot on it. Oh my god. He got so much crazy shit. Anyway. Now I've got to do this one. And then I've got to do the end of the year review of all the books I've read this year. I think I've got like 46 books I've read this year. Since I threw all these little short ones in, I've read like 5 or 6 books in a day or two. So I'll go through like what was the best and the worst. How many new authors have I read, that kind of thing. And then I got to make a video doing like 2023 plans. I'm going to get spreadsheets out. I'm going to try to plan out 60 books. I'm going to aim for 60 books next year. That's my goal. And then I've got another video coming out here in a few hours about First Amendment audits. It's going to be like 45 minutes long, so it's already been done.